Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael. The grandkids call me Roo. Thanks for being on the show this morning. It is July 5th, 2021. You made it through the 4th. I hope you survived with all your digits, your hearing, your eyesight in place. And maybe you just chilled out. Maybe you just put on a pot of water, steeped about 6 or 8 wonderful tea bags. And if you're in the South, you put sugar in that, about a cup and a half. Woo! And you made some sweet tea and you just sipped that. It's been hot for all you people out west. So sorry. It's kind of cool here this morning. I took my daughter's dog out for a walk. I'm dog sitting. My wife and I are. Carol and I are. It's good. I hope you're well. Wait a minute. I got my window open there a little bit. A little sunshine coming in. There it is right there. A little theatrical backlighting, I must say. We're getting uptown here. Hey. I'm glad you're on the show. Let me say hello to you here, and let me just say hello. A little music in the background. I don't think that's too loud. Melanie Wilkes, thanks for being on the show from Shellman Bluff. Shellman. Is that like shell? Yes, it is. S-H-E-L-L. Shellman. It's like the man who buys the shells and sells them. It's like, don't take a shell call on the beach. Patricia Deaton, thank you for being on the show. Buenos dias to you. Amy Van Diver Scrow. Is it Scrow? I think you tell me how to pronounce these phonically or phonically. And I never know. Donna Buckley from sunny West Virginia. See, my camera is trying to focus on me this morning because I got my hand waving out here. Happy birthday, Karen Bender. No, happy Monday. Bob. Good morning, Bob, from the all gussied up cornfields of Iowa. Bob, let me show you what gussied up really means. I didn't know you were going to say that, but take a look at my desk right here. Let me see if I can hit the button. Nope, it's not working. How about that, Bob? My desk is not working. There it is. Well, I'll take that shot. Why is my desk not working? Well, I'm going to make the desk work. There we go. It's working now, by dingy dangies, don't you know? Look at that. That's how I gussied up yesterday. I wore these. I only had them on for a short time last night because I didn't want to get any barbecue baked beans on them. There they are, the Converse Original Stars and Bars. I've had these since probably 94. And you'd say, well, they look brand new. It's because I only wear them once a year. July 4th, these babies come out. There's my Stars and Bars right there. There they are. They're not too shabby looking, are they? Okay. So I got all gussied up, wore a white long sleeve shirt. I know you're surprised at that, right? Here it is right here. Yep, that's the shirt right there. I always wear one of those shirts. Let me turn that music down. It's creeping up on me. Deborah Lynn, thank you for being on the show. Deborah Lynn Tauber, Randall Taylor Green, thank you for being on the show. Kathy Padroni, Lori Stanley Handelmeyer Henderson, thank you for being on the show from Steamy Hot, Ohio. Yeah. You know, you put the Ohio River with steamships and that's what you get. Raylene Culberson, thank you for being on from out in Riderwood Village, Washington. Deborah Spangler, yes, Denise Albright from Exeter. Is this our Exeter? Yes, we better get off here. Pauline Bolt, thanks for being on the show from Quiet, Minnesota. 5 hours of noise last night was a bit much. You got to celebrate once a year, you know? I mean, just get out there and shoot some fireworks if you got them. Jason Nicholas, thanks for being on. Good morning, peeps, he says. Great to have you here, my friend. Jason, man, he does some interesting, I love it. I got to say, I love the simple black and white. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddle masses, your Romano cheese eaters. All those things were the Statue of Liberty and the pen drawing. One of my faves, man. I'm telling you, it really was. Good job. Barbara Mayer, Sunshine, Sue Slimmer. Thanks for being on the show. Jackie Wallace, Lauren Schleckning. Thank you for being here. Beverly Schmidt, Pat Normandale, Linda Lenhart, Elaine Barrett, Elaine Woodruff, Patricia Evans. I think I did mean to send you a dragonfly and it missed the envelope, so forgive me. That means it's probably on the art bar somewhere. Hey, Pat Brooks, everybody's still on a patriotic high here in sunny South Florida. Yeah, Florida does go a little nuts. I shot a lot of fireworks in Florida when I lived down there. I actually had my license for several years. I had to get those through the ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms Division in Atlanta. I actually had my license to do the big aerial ones. So you had to get a permit. You had a fire truck there. You had a police officer there. And so I did those. Also, just a fun thing to do. I'm going to put my Stars and Bars back down. My boys had these. Wound up buying, I had a whole staff one time that I bought my whole staff these shoes. So, you go around, you want to give your staff a pen, you want to give them a nice little something artistic. And I said, hey, I need your shoe size. And they all go, what the heck is wrong with you? And I go, just give me your shoe size and zip it. So they all gave me shoe size. And so I had a friend who was actually here in Charlotte after I'd come to Charlotte, Gary Church, and he was a rep for Converse. And so I said, Gary, man, I need the good guy discount on some shoes. And I bought all my staff stars and bars and had a party and just gave them out the boxes. Really fun, really fun. I've given them pins too, gave them rings one year. And I said, if you had a ring, a cool silver ring that had an awesome word on it, a word in Greek or Hebrew or just an English word that we could pronounce, or maybe not pronounce, but even a word you want to make up. If you had a word on this ring, which hand would you wear it on? If you're a guitar player, you may not want it here. So I had a couple guys wanted it on their thumb. And so I bought everybody a cool silver ring, had them made for them. So back when there was, I had staff. Now my staff is over here. They're just pinned to my wall. Here's one of my staff here. This is one of the people on my show. The fly fishing stays over there all the time. It reminds me that somewhere up near Cheap Joe's in Boone, there's a river running. I'm sorry about my camera. I keep leaning and moving. I'll settle in here in a second. That I need to go fishing in. Skeeter Powell, thanks for being on the show. Andy, thanks for being on the show. Carol Todd Mundy, Mickey DeYoung, Virginia McClure, TikTok Jones is on the show. I love it. Good morning. That's a radio name right there. This is TikTok Jones, and I'll be telling you about the traffic momentarily. Pat Brooks, I guess you gussied up. Phil Wilbarger, thanks for being on the show. And he says it's steamy in Ohio. Man, you guys, come on. June Jones, thanks for being on the show. Not any kin to TikTok, I assume. Elaine Walker, Jacqueline Browse from up in Minnesota. Yeah, sure, where we drink pop. Trish Brown, Chris Young, Sue Kane, all the way from Australia. It's Rossi Kelly from Aruba. Get out of town. Thanks for being on the show. I haven't called the name Aruba out too much, but I would like to be. I'd like to be from Aruba. That'd be a cool place. No, I'd like to be sitting there, maybe sipping a drink, but I don't drink hot tea. So there's all kinds of tones going off here this morning. So let's get busy. Hey, here's what I've done. Let me zoom up to the front here, and okay. Yeah, my splash now. My staff now, they wish for a splash of color. Oh, clever. I got it. Thank you. All right. Here we go. Connie Fletcher, morning, she says. Morning to you too. Alice Durham, I see you there. Tambly Marie. Miss Carla, thanks for being on the show. Those shoes we call Chucks. Yes, that's what I said. I called them Chucks. Chuck Taylor's. Chuck Taylor was actually who they were named after. Yeah, man, I know all about my Chucks. But you know what? That was my game shoe when I played ball in school, and they have absolutely no support. So I can only wear them for a few minutes, and I have to say, I'll take these off, man, because they are making me crazy. All right, so let me see. I have no plan this morning. Let me show you the desk. Here's what it looks like right here. Take a look. That's it right there. There it is. There's the Kilimanjaro paper. Here's, I think, two things of Kilimanjaro paper. Let me talk to you about something that's actually a rule in the book, and it's about consistency. I'm going to back this camera out just a smidge right there. Okay. Oh, there's the harmonica lid over there. So here's what I mean by that when I say today it's the 5th. We had a busy day yesterday. I hope you did too. I don't know what I'm going to paint. I'm thinking to myself, what is he going to paint? And you're saying, well, yeah, knucklehead, you always paint roosters. Now you're learning something. Those of you who are hanging with me through this and who've been through watercolor classes, and I'm going to talk about starting a new class. Probably, I don't think I'm going to run one this summer. I think starting in the fall when life gets back to schedule normal, I'll probably slide in and do a class or two. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to do a watercolor class on just being consistently inconsistent and inconsistently consistent. So that's going to be the theme. It's in the book. It's in the book. Here it is right here. It's in the book. Don't think I don't know where it is in the book. I just marked it, but I changed books on you. Rats, here it is right here. Here it is right here. Consistently inconsistent and inconsistently consistent. You're going, well, that's a conundrum. What in the world is he talking about? I'm going to explain it to you. And I will explain why I may do a little bit of a class on that, because here's what I've been pushing for since we started doing this. And you thought this was about painting. No, this is about people, and this is about connecting, and this is about you finding your style, your art style. I want you to say, I think like an artist. And I want you to understand that in thinking like an artist, a couple things happen. You literally will put on a pair of glasses that have a different lens, and you might look at the world in a different way. That is everything when you're thinking like an artist. That's huge, okay? That means when everybody else is turning left, you turn to the right. When everybody else is thinking up, you're thinking down. When everybody else is, you not just that you do the opposite, but you come alongside and you enhance. You bring something to it. You do that extra little you that's just you. You just do it. It's why you carry a pen in your pocket or your purse. It's why you carry some of your paints in a small little container. It's why you buy good paper. If you've been painting with me for 298 hours, and including classes, hey, I'll make 300 this Saturday. 300 hours I've been doing this since we started March of 2020. If you've been doing that and you haven't picked up on the fact that there is some consistency in finding my style, that's so important. I paint with 5 or 6 different papers, but when I'm really on the rock, when I'm really standing firm, when I'm really pushing into what I want to tell a story on, I'll reach for 2 papers at most, probably. One of those is a Kilimanjaro, not because I'm doing a sales pitch for American Journey or Cheap Joe's, but I like them. I just have been with them for a long time. They feel like my family, even though I don't see them and they don't come to my house for Thanksgiving. I don't eat turkey anyway. I do a tenderloin, beef tenderloin on Thanksgiving. My point is, this paper I love because of its makeup. It's 100% pure rag cotton. It really makes the colors pop, and it's ultra bright white. And the style of my painting needs to pop like that. Okay, Arches will do that, but Arches is harder to work with. It's a little more expensive. There's some right there. I painted 3 paintings this weekend on Arches. Maybe you saw it. It says, is this safe? I always think about fireworks. Are they safe? And the answer is no, they're not safe. How can anything be safe if you strike a match and light a fuse and expect it to pop or blow up somewhere? That's not safe. But freedom has never been safe. And that comment just came to me. Consistently inconsistent. I know I'm going to paint a rooster. I'm just not sure until I painted him what he's going to say. You see how that works? So in my consistency of watercolor, I'm going to choose some paper that I love. I'm going to choose some paper like Fluid 100 paper. What is it? It's rag cotton, or it's 100% cotton. Here's one that hasn't even been opened yet. I don't even think this one's been popped open. Wow, that's exciting. Oh, that's pristine right there. I love it very much. Okay. Sometimes I paint on Fabriano, but it's down the line for me, even though it's a great Italian-made paper. So in this next stage of watercolor for you, and you're starting to getting your visual voice out there, you're starting to land where it is. There's going to be a time where you needed to play everywhere, and you still need to play. You still need to think like an artist. You still need to paint on receipts, Michelle. You still need to find some fun tablecloth in a restaurant and just bring out your papers and paint and do it. Rip the tablecloth off and give it away. Do it all the time. Do it every week. When Carol and I will generally have a nice little lunch out somewhere, or we just grabbed a pizza the other day. We had a gift certificate from some friends at a new pizza place. And it's Sicilian pizza, thin crust and fresh veggies on top and a real tomato sauce. And Kevin, who runs that, came over and just talked to us. And we stood there and we talked about art and media and the restaurant business and finding help these days, how difficult it is for people who work and people who don't want to work. Crazy world we live in. The point is, I think like an artist. So when I'm scribbling at the table, I leave something there. And I like to just walk off. And you can say, well, that's just shameless marketing. Maybe it is. But I like to think it's more in the Bob Ross category is this is never really about all art. It's about people. You know what it's like when someone hands you a business card? You know what it's like when someone hands you a little piece of art? There is a difference, okay? And so I do that constantly. You all are doing that now. The fact that this community, is mailing cards out to one another. But sometimes you do. You send me things and I get things sometimes that are this thick. I got a card recently that was in a frame with little moving parts in 3D. I just got another one where the little rooster came out and had wire legs. It's unbelievable what you people put in the mail. But I love it that you're sending it to each other and you're blessing each other with that. Okay, so as you get into this and you're continuing to think like an artist and you're learning your style, hear me out. The time's going to come when you say, I can doodle on this or this. But when I want to go to a serious place, serious as unless you paint goofy, whimsical stuff, but still, even on my good whimsical stuff, I'll go to the paper that I trust and that I love and the brushes that I know. You hear that? Okay? You go to where you know there. That gives you the consistency to make your style your style. So what's the inconsistency? Nobody knows what it's really going to turn out like. Nobody knows really what the caption's going to be. Nobody's really going to know what twist I put on it and make a leadership or a community or a friendship or a hope or a faith or an input somewhere. I'm going to keep that inconsistent. I'm going to surprise you with that. That's the reveal. That's why Denise can put a dog on a surfboard. That's why I can have a rooster smelling a bouquet. That's out of the ordinary. That's why I can have a rooster and a bee having a conversation, or the hen asking the bee for a little more honey in her tea. You see? So that's the surprise, the element of surprise. I need to check something. Watch this video and I'll be right back. Hang on one second, okay? I think you've already seen this, but just stick with me. I'm going to roll this one more time and it's going to come up on an empty scene. Hang on. Okay, so I had to make sure that I had something. Here it is, right here. Had to run right out there because I had it. I took it off the wall this morning and I laid it down somewhere else. Don't you hate it when you do that? And I'm talking to you about this thing that I'm leading up to because it was a story I wanted to share, and then I went, whew, what did I do with it? So I have it now. Okay, here we go. Hey, welcome to the show where I couldn't just call one of my team and say, hey, could you bring me in that thing that I wrote? When I came to Charlotte in 2002, January 2002, I was driving up the road in an old pickup truck. I've always had an old pickup truck. Got all my stuff in the back, my books, my boxes, my apple crates filled with journals. I'm cruising up the highway, and lo and behold, I've got a box flap there, and on the box is one of my old journals. They were moleskins. Some of them were what we'll call blue line journals that I was writing in all through the 90s. So they're all right over there. When I motion like that, I'm looking, I see them all. I kept them. They're in an apple box right now. And so I'm driving up through there, and I thought, these folks are going to wonder how I work. They're going to wonder, I was coming to take a new job. They're going to wonder what I do. They're going to wonder where I'm consistent. They're going to wonder where I'm inconsistent. they're going to wonder if I have a reason for why it is that I do what I do. None of this has changed in those almost 20 years or 21 years. None of that has changed. 19 years. None of that has changed from my paper to my brush. What I'm saying is, I lock in on something and it makes me better at the craft, okay? The guitar that I play, the style of strings that I use, I eventually said, this is the string that I like. It's the sound that I think helps me play. It's the sound that my ear likes to hear. So they're not too sharp. I don't mean sharp in a musical pitch. I mean just twangy, sharp, or bright, brassy, or bright. They're soft. They're folk. Why? Because I'm a ballad writer. I'm a poet. I think I am anyway. I think like one. So the point is, so I'm coming up the road and I'm writing, which, texting back then, no cell phones that I even had in my hand. So I was coming up the road and I'm writing, everything that I do needs to go through a filter. Just like when you make a good cup of coffee, you want to filter out all those little loose pieces just to get the flavor. So how do you get everything to go through a filter? I hope you're with me this morning because this is so important. This is stuff I would normally do in a storytelling class, and we'll probably bring it back to that class. But it's also something that I'll do about style when I talk to artists who say, I just don't know what I'm going to paint. I said, I bet you do. You just haven't really visually said it yet, nor put it on paper where it gets a response from you and others. So that'll come to you. It may take another year. It may come tomorrow. It may come before this show's over. So I'm writing down everything that I do has to go through a filter. So I came up with a mathematical looking formula that says what it is that I like to say. So I'm going to give you about 2 more minutes on this, and then I'm going to paint. And here it is right here. I'm going to show it to you right now. Ready? Drum roll, please. Published it on this piece of Sintra. Sintra is a signboard that's made, this is not foam core. This is a hard plastic board that's bendable. It's just beautiful stuff. You buy it from a company here that we've made all sorts of props out of it. So here is the formula that I wrote. Take a look. I scratched this out on my journal, and then with the Sharpie, I wrote it around the box top. And I said it over and over to myself for about the next 80 miles. And I went through each piece of it. So when I walked in my new desk, I wrote it out and I took it to the graphic shop and I introduced it to myself to Carl. And I said, I would like you to publish this for me on a piece of Sintra. Just get creative with it. Here's what it means. Now I've taken this on a piece of steel and I've welded all the letters in, and it's in my son's office at Coca-Cola. So they have it. So here it is right here. All right, there it is. All right, so here we go. I'm going to surprise you. You're going like, what the heck is he talking about? Where does this go? Rue said a Sharpie. Yeah, I did. All right, so here it is. Take a look. Everything. That's everything I paint, everything I write, everything I say, everything I present publicly, okay? Especially if you're in a theater or you're writing or producing a ministry for children, or if you're creating a music set, or if you're doing a television show, everything. Right now I'm working on a TV show again, and I'm putting props together. So everything that I think of for the builds that I'll be doing for this TV show, everything that I think of has to be run through, what is it? The mission statement. So everybody has a mission statement. I want to be an artist to do this. Schools have a mission. If you're a school teacher, the school has a mission statement. If you like that mission statement, then make sure that everything you do is divided by that mission statement. Crazy, huh? It works. That means, and then also there's an exponent here, MS squared. So the mission statement squared, don't run it through just once, run it through twice. And you think, well, I just bought this. I was at one of those dollar stores, the other day, and I just bought this pack of paints for $1. And you're saying you want to make your art better. I'm saying stop buying your paint at the dollar store for $1, unless you're just doing a throwaway birthday party for children and you just want them all to have paint that you sweep up and throw it away later. Don't do that anymore. Buy some quality paint. This is not a paint pitch, but it is. Buy paint that works well for you. Buy paint that you love. Buy paint that's either gouache or a Japanese made or One company that absolutely is just spectacular that you love. I'm not telling you to buy the paint that I'm using. If I could get this open, I would. There it is right there. These are just sent to me by Yasutoma. By the way, I got to give away a brush. Not on have to. I want to give away a brush today. So these are Asian paints that Japanese paints that Yasutoma sent and said, we want you to feel how smooth they are. And I love the feel of those paints. For my roosters, they're a little opaque. They're a little thin. I want something that just goes, hey, I'm a rooster. I'm here. But I'm mixing them in places and I'm learning to use them. But they're expensive paints. They're not cheap paints. So everything that I do is run through a mission statement. All right, so here we go. Everything divided by the mission statement squared plus why. Why am I painting in the first place? Well, I'm painting because I'm a maker. I was born to make. I was born to quilt, to throw pots, to carve, to whittle, to make wooden spoons, to create crafts out of shells. If I'm in Shellman Bluff, Georgia, I want to glue shells to everything. I want everybody wearing shells. My job is to be a maker. Okay? So that's why I'm doing this. So everything divided by the mission statement squared plus why. Why are you doing this? Why do you need to do this in the first place? Because we got to create something that works for TV, that'll make the audience connect, that'll make the family happy, that'll make the talent express himself well. That's the why to all these things. They've all been run through the mission statement. Then in every mathematical formula, there's always brackets. You know what that means? I have to work these brackets out first. So even though I have all this, I have to do this first. So everything divided by the mission statement squared plus why times realistic application over time constraint. What does that mean? I may not have time to do this well. Realistic application over time constraint. I may not have the budget for this. I know what we should do. Maybe Saturday for the 300th Ruse event, my 300th hour, I will hire a marching band and bring them all in here. And I'll bring all 80 people in my small office, and you're going like, well, that's not going to work. So realistic application in some things it just doesn't happen. Over time constraint. I couldn't even get the band together before then anyway. So maybe it's out of my budget range. Maybe I have to plan that a year in advance. Maybe I have to do that. So there's always something that you have to look at. You say, wow, I'm going to paint this 5 by 9 foot painting for these people. But I go, well, I can't paint it on a bed sheet because it's going to look pretty bad. I'm going to have a real canvas, and it's going to have to be gessoed, and it's going to have to be stretched and blocked. And so you're going to have to realistic applications over a time constraint. So you have to set a schedule for that. Everything divided by the mission statement squared. Run it through. Hey, I don't want to put this word in there because it might offend. It might not be holding to who we really are. It might not work for this application. Plus why. Why am I doing this in the first place? Am I doing it just because I love it? Or am I doing it because it's part of my passion? Or am I doing this because I can help other people with it? Or am I doing this just because I think like an artist and I have to make things? That's a good reason. Some of you are giving cards away because 2 reasons. You love how it feels when you give that card to someone else, and you love how they feel when they receive it. Those are 2 great reasons. Realistic application over minus V. What is the V? The V is one we fought over for a little while. We didn't fight over it, but we debated it for a while because we didn't want to be infringing on anyone's copyright, because the V stands for cheese. The V stands for cheese, Velveeta. Sometimes we just do cheesy work. We just go, oh, that's cheesy. I don't want that in here. Sometimes you just go, what were you thinking when you did that? I'll do a piece of art sometimes. Then there's other kinds of cheese. So that's Velveeta. It just drips off the side. It's just cheesy. But then there's good cheese that it's a planned cheese. It's when I give you a pun or a silly word out of that book and paint something on it, you go, oh my gosh, that's just so cheesy. And yet you love it. So you have to balance that cheese a little bit. If you're doing serious work, sometimes your skin needs to be thick enough as an artist where someone says to you, that's not your best work. And you go, wow, gosh, you hurt my feelings. And you're like, yeah, but Were you thinking, who connects to that? And you think, you know what? Maybe you're right. I need to change that. So everything divided by the mission statement squared plus y times realistic application over time constraint minus the cheese. Get the bad cheese out. Keep the good cheese in. Equals APS. Acceptable, pleasing sacrifice. And when you have sacrificed your time and energy, and when you've done something pleasing to your heart, your eye, and your head, and when it's acceptable by those that you're bringing it to, you have offered a gift up that's like none other. And it has a spin on it more than that. It's handmade. It's art. You are the maker of something. Like the creator, you've created something. That is what I went running out to get. This stays up on my wall all the time. And it has been used thousands and thousands of times. And I wrote this and registered this in 2002 because I thought this is how I want to teach a team to do their mission vision and stand on that strong. So that now I do it just simply. It just comes to me. So that means that I'm consistently inconsistent. So everything that I do, I'm going to paint a rooster. I'm consistent. That's what I paint. I paint roosters. But you know what else I'm going to do? You're not going to know where it's going to go. And that doesn't bother me at all. I don't know either, but I might make it up. I might make it up based on his face. It might just be the conversation. It just might be something that says, who knows what? I don't even have a clue. I came to the desk blank, except for the fact that it was time to present to you what really drives this underneath. And there is a madness to my method and a method to my madness. Okay, so, woohoo! Everything, mission statement twice. Why? There you go. Jacqueline just wrote it, Velveeta. All right, so there's a way that and you're thinking, oh my gosh, did this guy who paints roosters really say all of that? Yeah, there's deeper water that should go under everybody's bridge. And so I want you to come to art addressing yourself as one who thinks like an artist and also addressing your desk by saying, today I'm going to make something that's going to be pleasing and acceptable to someone. And my sacrifice into it, it may never come back to me, but you know the personal sacrifice you put in, the time and sweat equity that you built into it. It's why I love people who work. It's why I have a hard time with people who say, well, I don't want to work hard because, I'm like, whoa. Working hard is what pays off. It's what we're here to do. We travail, we work, we're people who work. That's how we've been made too. We have to plow the ground to plant the seed, or you can't live in corn country, right, Bob? If you don't plow, what the heck are you doing? Just watching it? So you got to do something out there, okay? Art equals time. You bet it does. Okay. All right, here we go. Let me paint a rooster. Let me just grab a big old pen today and paint it with this one right here. So here's what I'm going to do: throw some music on, and then paint me a rooster with an attitude named Parker Grant and a hen with an amazing attitude named Charlie Kate. All right, Diane Miller is commissioning me live in front of everybody here. Paint me a rooster with an attitude named Parker Grant and a hen with an amazing attitude named Charlie Kate. Spectacular grands. There you go. Well, Diane, that's a pretty bold statement. And so if I painted you one, it'd probably have a bold price on it. But we'll talk about that later. All right. So, but I'll give you an idea of how that works. Embrace the cheese, only if it's good cheese. But embrace the other and say, oh, no. You don't want that. Okay. There's just sometimes that you don't wear these shoes. There's just places that I go that I don't wear these. If I've been asked to speak at the baccalaureate service of some maybe it would work there. But if I've been asked to speak somewhere, or let's say that someone asked me to sing at their funeral, and that's happened. I've done that several times, and so not in years, but it's not something that I really love doing. But the family asked, and I did, And if I wore these shoes, unless he was a friend who he and I had some link to Chuck Taylor's, or Chucks as we call them, but Converse, that wouldn't be a place. But for me to show up with these on the 4th of July, well, that's not Velveeta. That's plain cheese, and I'm loving it. People go, yeah, those shoes were made for this day. Or if I want to walk into a board meeting and lay back in my chair and put my feet on the table and say, let's get down to business. They know I have come to have some fun, and we're going to go in a different direction. So you make sure your cheese works right. You see how that works? All right. Don't get me on that thing. I have plaid chucks I wear at Christmas time. I love it. I love it. All right, so here we go. Here's the roux right here. Let's make the roux going this way today. And guess what I'm painting? I'm sketching with a Lamy pen, Lamy. There it is right there. It has a name on it right there. Let's see if you can see that. Lamy. There it is right there. Okay. This is and Lamy ink. Now, I've got to be careful on this paper because if I drag my hand through it, guess what's going to happen? It is going to bleed like crazy. Man, I'll tell you what. I still love this pen. I laid out a bunch of pens today. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 fountain pens. There's the Yasutoma gel pen. I don't even have, well, these are here. They're always close by. The number 7 Pentel and the number 5 Pentel. And then I've got several brushes laying out. You can see I'm almost under my big old head there. If I could move my head over just a little bit. There they are right there. There's my stack of stuff on that side. And so you can see where it is. All right, but right now I'm using the Lamy pen because I really like the way this goes. And so here's that rooster. Here's that hen. Now, what's going to happen when I lay the water to this pen is with a little bit of a bamboo brush right here, which reminds me right after this, I'm going to give one away. What's going to happen here is that, look at this. This is just water. It's just going to bleed right in very nicely, just like so. I'm going to come in here, just add some water and just a little more water on this painting than you've probably seen me use. So this is great paper, one of my favorite papers, and I'm just letting it bleed in. I didn't wet this paint down yet, so let me just give it a little shot of a mist. Grab one of my misting bottles here, see if this one works. Try not to spray my computer, try not to spray the painting anymore. Just wet this just a little bit. There we go. All right, just wet those a little bit, especially if you're using a bamboo brush. It's good just to wet those a bit, and it makes it, these bristles are soft, and I like to just help them keep their shape. So there we go, a little bit of blue in there. This is ultramarine blue, French blue, you may call it. And I also like a little bit of gray, so I'm going to go get some French gray. Oh, French gray and French blue. This must be French hen. That used to be Harbor Gray, but Joe's team changed it to French Gray. I guess it's for the people who didn't know where the harbor was. We all know the harbor was up in Maine at the time because that's where Joe used to go and do some fun sketching, I think. I'm going up there this September, it sounds like. Carol and I are working out a little trip to go up to Maine and sketch. And have you ever seen me draw a boat? Maybe a tiny sailboat one day, but not too many. Okay, so I'll just probably do some rocks and some rock hens and some roosters, and I don't know. We'll find out where I'll eat some lobster, and we're just going to take a few days and go and be a part of an. We've never been in the Northeast, so I've been up to Buffalo, and I've been on into Cornell, and I've been up in Canandaigua, the Finger Lakes, but I've never been in northern, past that. I've never been up to Boston. I've never been up to, and we're not necessarily going in there. We're going to probably fly into, I don't know where we're going to fly into. I'd like to say that, but I don't know. So there, I won't say it. I'd be better off if I don't. How fast this takes off when you got great paint, great paper, and it just goes like a roll. You see that dark in there? That's that pen. That's adding that. And I knew it was going to happen like that. That pen bleeds. It runs. It moves around. And that doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like it. One of the things I mix from time to time, you see me do that, is over in this little window. I keep it open over here. I just mix up some lead color. I take a little gamboge right here and just that, tickle it with a little more of that red. I'm going to go get some of this French gray and just drop it in like this and not really mix it up well. Just leave it sort of laying in there. Can you see that? And that's the color that I really do kind of like my chicken legs. I like them a little more, with a little more orange in them than that. So sorry, I need to mix that up just a tad bit more. I want just a little more orange because there we go. But I like that French gray coming into that yellow. Go back and get some more of this right here. I got to be careful because too much water in the brush is going to cause a lot of color to come down. I think I want a little bit of purple underneath this Roo right here. He struts his stuff because he said he looks at himself in the the shiny piece of feeder there next to the barn, and he goes, "Dang, I look pretty good today. What is the deal?" And that's just how roosters are. They are the farm bard, remember? And so I think this kite is going to be here. So here, Diane, here's what I would do if I were doing that. I'd put this little tail of the kite down here like this, and I'd put this hen here flying a kite, and I would get my pen. Where is it? Put a little earth under this. How fast a story can come together, not even knowing where you're going. It's funny that you said paint this because I didn't know what I was going to paint other than consistently. I knew I was going to paint a rooster. Inconsistently, I knew I was going to surprise you somehow. So I'm surprising me too. That's part of the fun reveal. Oh, I didn't know that was going to turn out like that. I didn't know you were going to do that. Yeah, I didn't either. So this is just a fine line marker. I think I sent Pat one of those. I think I found one down into my box at Pat. I don't know how long its life will be because they were old when I got them. My friend Chip was cleaning out his office. My second friend, Chip, my first friend was, if he had cleaned out his office, I'd have just had coffee. But my second friend was cleaning them out, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, you're always talking about these pens. I found out that I had a bunch in here." So I took them. Well, I didn't take them. He offered them to me. I've not been known to steal on purpose. I may have stolen, but it wasn't on purpose. I took something. All right, I need a little erasing going on here. See, I'm just going to go in and push that down with a paper towel. Then I'm going to go in and get a little more. I'm going to use this different brush. I'm going to go to a number 3 American Journey brush. This is a nylon hair. Lamy like mommy, John Robert Small always tells us. The coffee guy who pronounces things correctly, you got to listen to him. If he says Lamy, Lamy, is like mommy, he's right. It's a German-made fountain pen. It's a plastic body. It uses, in fact, in this one, I do have the Lamy ink also. There it is right there. It's just here's what I keep my ink cartridges in right here. So at any point in time, if I blow a tire, on lap 5, I can jump back in, put one in. It's got a little O-ring here. This pen does not leak. This pen does not drip on you. Any ink you see on my hand came from one of my other pens. This pen is maintenance free. It's called the Safari. Safari. They're not a sponsor yet. Okay? Lamy, give me a call. We need to be working together. Okay? This is a great pen, but I will tell you this. If you sketch with this pen, you're going to get some serious bleed. It's going to happen. When I put this pen in water like this, it's going to run and cause some great stuff to happen. Here's what I love about this paper. Can you see what's happening right here? Let me get in there with the close-up. Ready? Here we go. Hold on to your seats. All right, I zoomed in on that. Can you see what's happening? It's a little, that's a tight zoom. But look what's happening with this purple. And you go, wait, why is that purple running uphill? Well, one, my art is flat, but if I hold it up like this, and if I hold it down, I can get it to come down a little bit. There's some. But look what's happening on this Kilimanjaro paper. I love what happens here. This is the mushroom effect. This is the blending effect. This is where it just goes whoop. And there's no way I can brush this. I must say this 300 times because I've been doing this for 297 hours. Look, this is where you put the right amount of watercolor paper, that's consistent, a good brush, that's consistent, the right touch, that's consistent, and then just stop. And the inconsistency is when it goes together on its own and creates something that you might not have been able to create had you were looking at a picture of it and trying to figure out, how did that artist get that to brush in there? Those artists who do that, they are gifted from their birth on with knowing how to sketch. Some of you are on this show and knowing how to paint. I paint whimsical because, one, I love this style. I love the holidays that are still in here. That's not paint. That's the white paper showing through. There's a block out there that has looks like I missed filling in a place. If this were paint by number, I'd be fired. No, I just let it happen like that. I painted this little hen, and I'm going back in. I wanted her to be a little darker. And so, look, I've got what I want here happening. She's flying this kite. And what's he going to say? He's going to say, when I told you to go fly a kite, I didn't know you were really going to fly one. Could I have a turn? So there's your grandson being himself. And there's the granddaughter taking the upper hand by saying, hey, go fly a kite, the rooster says. And she says, I did. It's fun. He goes, I want to try it. He goes, nope, get your own. So there's the painting right there. Bet you didn't think I could do it that fast, huh, Diane? See, it's not. And I think what we need just a little bit of blue in the sky, just a little bit like this. And I'm going to go back and just take some of that with a paper towel and touch it like so. And I think I'm going to do something I haven't done in a long time. I'm going to splatter a little lavender. Oh my gosh. Are you serious? He's got lavender on the deck. Look at that little spot right there. Mm-hmm. There's a little, oh, you can't even see it, can you? No, because I'm sorry. I came out with my, see, I was telling you a story and I forgot where I went with all my painting supplies. There it is right there. There it is. Okay, we're back. So there's the painting right there. So I was going to show you is I have a little lavender right here. There it is right there. A little peach, a little lavender, a little terry-tardy turquoise, a little royal amethyst, some Halloween orange. I don't like Halloween, but I like this bright orange. This is 3 reds. This is Joe's Red. This is Hot Mama. And this is Red Hot. 3 different reds. I don't pay attention. I just grab a tube, put it in there. So I don't know which one's on the top or bottom. Doesn't matter to me. I like when the reds sort of mingle and mix. This is Gamboge. This is a blue that I didn't put in here. It's not American Journey blue. This is a blue that came with this Van Gogh set. This was brought to me. This set was paints were brought to me from Italy, and I just kept it. And then as I've used up, this is original. This is original. Everything else I've put my own colors in because I used those up as I was traveling. This is Payne's Gray. This is Lamp Black. This was the purple that was in this kit, and I don't know what it is, but I like this Royal Amethyst. This is Spring Green. This is Olive Green. So this is a Getz Gray, Getz. This is Buff Titanium, and over in the corner right there is a little bit of white titanium. So that gives you a little idea of my colors that I just paint up. Man, there are thousands of roosters in this palette. Buy small tubes of paint, put the lids back on tight, store them in a cool place, and don't squirt out all this paint and waste it and go, oh, I only painted on that, it's going to dry up. And I just leave this open all the time. Because I paint every day anyway, I just wake it up with a little sprinkle of paint and say, hello, let's get up. And it does. It's been good stuff for me. I'm going to take a little bit of this green and bring it in right here. And then I'm going to get a little bit of this Payne's gray and come in. I think I need just a little bit of a shadow under this roo. Here's this tail feather shadowing right here. And maybe a little bit of purple in the shadow. Yeah, you know, we do see purple quite a bit as light breaks down and creates shadow. I don't spend a lot of time doing shadows and stuff because my paintings aren't about that. I'll come back with a pen like so, maybe a number 7, and go in here and get a little more detail. All right. Let me see if there's a question or two, and I'll take that. And then I'm going to give away a couple brushes. I'm going to do some detail on his legs. There's a little bit of detail, some veining. And I like it when the rooster's always saying, hey. And I think that's going to be the caption. Go fly a kite. All right. I think I enjoy the Velveeta a little too much. Good morning from Oregon. Who said that? Maine trip sounds fabulous. Thank you. Only artist friends understand your collection of pens. Debbie, that's the way it's always going to be. Diane says, I live in Rhode Island. Stop by. Okay, I love sailboats, Rue. Okay, I should paint one sometime. Been to Kenny Buckport. Well, yeah, I was invited there several years ago with some friends to go, and we just never did. Niagara Falls is not on my itinerary. I was a few miles from it one time and didn't go, so you know you shouldn't do that, right? My Yasutoma pins are fabulous. Oh, good, Pat. I hope you enjoy those. Are you going through Connecticut? I don't know. I have a friend who owns a lobster place in New Hampshire. Stay in the White Barn in Kenny Buckport. Okay, I'm getting some. Love the purple. Yeah, don't you love that purple? Thanks. I'm just looking to see if there's any. What's the name of the purple? It's Royal Amethyst. Royal Amethyst. Voila. All right. Periwinkle. Lavender is actually periwinkle. Yes, and that cover is periwinkle, by the way. I called it lavender, but it is periwinkle. Lavender's on my mind. I pulled some up out of the garden the other day, friend's garden, and brought it home for Carol. And I went over and knocked out some great tomatoes that were there. Had my first, right out of the garden, tomato mayonnaise sandwich. Stellar, just amazing, just awesome, and so good. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. You really got yourself fenced in on your desk. I'll be knocking everything. Yeah, Becky Bailey, you know, that's right. I've learned to paint like this, but remember, I've been painting on a place about 18 by 24 for 10 years. So I work really tight like this. I started, and I usually sit on a stool, so I have a little more shoulder action. Doing the camera work, it's tough enough as it is, but it has been just a privilege to be part of this. I use olive green exclusively. Yes, you do. I can see that comes out with a lot of your paintings, Chris. Any tips on cleaning your Lamy pen? You know what? I've had this one for 4 years and haven't cleaned it at all. So no, but I have had one, a yellow body one that I took apart completely, and I just drop it in cool, warm water, let it sit there for a while, and then just give it a thorough rinse, dry it out really well, and put it back together. So I haven't used any chemicals or anything because this will break down. If you really need to get some ink out of that, Jason, a couple drops of isotope alcohol, isopropyl, you know, which is all I clean camera lenses with. Just regular rubbing alcohol will work. Just put a little bit of that in there. You could probably drop it in a brandy. It'd probably work just as fine. Okay. Good afternoon from England. We often can't get the products you recommend. Yeah, Susan, I'm certainly aware of that. And so that's one reason that I'm recommending them with an open palette. I'm just saying where you live, you have to find what you love. And you may have to experiment enough with 4 or 5 different papers until you narrow it down to 3. And then from that 3, you're going to have one that is your go-to paper. It's going to be the paper you go. 8 out of 10 paintings that leave this household are on this kind of paper. Maybe 7 out of 10, because I've got 2 or 3 papers that I really love. If you you get a piece of paper from me, it's probably going to be Kilimanjaro. It's going to be Fluid 100. This weekend, it was a piece of Arches, which really is the first Arches paper that I've mailed out probably ever. I did 3 4th of July paintings on this Arches. Here's why. It's a great little block. I carried it down to my kitchen table. I painted them there. It was our fireworks safe. No. You might get a piece of Fabriano paper that's been cut into 5x7. Fabriano looks like this. This is only 25% cotton, but I like the way it bleeds, and so I keep up with different papers. So you're just going to have to experiment until you find something you like. People like Canson paper. It's a little less expensive. Good Canson 140, not necessarily. You can get an upper end of Canson that's a professional grade. It's really great paper. Strathmore paper is a good paper to practice on, but I don't hardly ever send out any paintings on Strathmore. I just don't like the way it blends my paint together and how I paint. So I use American Journey from Cheap Joe's, and that's the paint that I've been using. And that's also where my paper comes from. My pens are from all over Sapworks. I use the brushes that I'm using today, once again, for a lot of new people that are popping on, are Yasutoma. The word is this word right here. Let's see if I can find a brush that it's not worn off. Yasutomo, as you can't see that anyway, but it's Yasutoma, Yasutomo. As a matter of fact, let me take a moment right now and give away a couple brushes. Laura Abbott says, I never would have considered fountain pens. Oh, Kakuno, man, the Kakuno pen. I have 2 on the desk at any point in time, both the fine and the ultra fine. Love my Kakuno pens, and they do not drip. A little finer line, okay? Let's see. Yeah, don't you love how people are commenting on how this purple swept up into that terry tardy turquoise. And needlepoint Intergels, man, those things are still some of my go-to pens. A late hello from Buffalo. Hey, Javine McCabe, thank you. I spy a Rue 10. Yeah, there's a Rue 10 over here. It was a gift from Irma. And it has a Rue 10 that has a little bit of paint in it. So there we go. Here we go. Hey, let me do this real quickly here. I've got a few minutes before 10 o'clock for an hour and 3-minute show. Here's what we do. I'm going to just scroll back and forth. I'm going back and forth. Somebody's going to win 2 brushes this morning. You're going to win a Yasutoma SW1, and you're going to win a Yasutoma SW3. Okay? So whoever, Yasutoma makes those brushes available to me, and here's what they do. They send those right to Boone and Brian or his staff at Cheap Joe's. I send them the names, and they will fulfill the order and send them directly to you. What a great thing. So thank you, Yasutoma, for doing that. You guys are facilitating other people to paint, and I love it very much. So here we go. I'm just going to get over here on my desk. I'm going to scroll up and down, up. I can see out of the corner of my eye that the words are going up, but I can't read it. Trust me, I got to get in here just to read it. So they're going up, they're going down, just to make sure I'm on track. And then I'm going to turn around. The first name that pops out, I'm going to call it, and I'm going to have you send me an email at roodoodles@gmail.com. I'm going to send you 2 brushes. Here we go, and boom. Mickey DeYoung, okay? Micki McPhail DeYoung, DEYONG. Mickey, if you'll send me an email at roodoodles@gmail.com with your address. Just put your address in there. If you trust me with that, I'll see that it gets forwarded on to Cheap Joe's. And you're going to get a Yasutoma SW1, and you're going to get a Yasutoma SW3. So these 2 brushes, not these 2, they'll have a little plastic tip on them, and they'll be packaged very neatly. And you'll probably have a catalog from Cheap Joe's and all sorts of things. So send me an email. Those are coming to you. And thanks for looking through my mathematical equation today. Highly mathematical. You know, I'm a musician, and so a lot of music is based in math. hemi-demi semiquavers and quarter notes and whole notes and half notes and reading the tape measure and measures. Isn't that funny? Everything is a certain time. So equations are fun to me. I did okay in geometry. In fact, I did okay in math, really, but I use it more than you think. I'm build and measure and plan and plot, but most of the time I just paint crazy loose roosters. Everything divided by the mission statement squared plus W, Y, times realistic application over time constraint, minus V, the cheese. Get the bad cheese out, keep the good cheese in, equals acceptable, pleasing sacrifice. And there's my equation that for over 20 years has been a part of my life. Hey, thank you, Mary. Rizal says, yeah, God created your mind to work. Yeah. Okay. Jason uses why a lot in his classroom, which you should. Why, everything starts with why. Okay. So let me go back up to the bottom of this page here and see what it says. Have a wonderful creative day today, Chris says. All right. Yay, Mickey, says Pat. So send me that. Mickey, send me an email, and we'll go from there. Hey, you guys, I will see you tomorrow morning, Lord willing. Right now, take a sip of your cuppa, whatever it is. Is it tea? Is it coffee? Mine is Builder's Tea today. They're not a sponsor. Well, kind of. I've sent out 3 texts already early this morning, my first cuppa, and I'm going to send out another one right now. And I also have a list of names over here on the board that I just send to some friends. A couple of these are health issues. A couple of these are all sorts of issues. And I just put them over there, and it reminds me to send them a note and say, hey, this is a good day. Get out there and rescue it. Be consistent as you learn your visual voice. But be inconsistent as you reveal the surprise at the end. That's what this story's about right here. Parents had to depend on us with their kids to be consistent in the values that we're teaching, but inconsistent in how we would deliver it. So we shot it out of air cannons. We launched it on rockets. We flew it across on a small airplane. Anything that we could do to make them go, no, they did not. That was what we did. Consistently inconsistent. It's in the book called Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle. It's Roodoodles, written by the Roo, If I Had Rules, illustrated by Pat Brooks. If you haven't seen Pat in person, neither have I, but there's her sketch. And she did a great job with all these, and it's fun. This is going to be fun for schools. Coming this fall, we will do some prints from the book. There'll be some probably 5x7s and some 8x10s of these that you can put up in places and say, what is it about art that sets you apart? That's part of your mission vision statement right there, okay? So work on that. Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle is available now on Amazon, and so is Roobots. I usually, here's a copy of that right here. I'll show it to you before I leave. There's Roobots. This is the coloring book that has to do with when roosters and farm equipment collide. It's called Roobots. Funny stories. I hope they're funny, but stories of how I dreamed this up and what it is, and then also a space for the kids to draw little pieces of it over here. Color pencils or fine tip markers more than crayons. You can use a crayon in this, but it's just going to kind of run all together or just kind of wax it out. But it'll work, and it's called Roobots. Today, the Farmyard, tomorrow, the World. Both are available on Amazon, or you can get them from me here. And one box is already in of coloring books, and one box of Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle is in. I'm still waiting on another one to fulfill all the pre-orders. We got those moving before Amazon ever came up with it. Now they get ahead of the game. But envelopes are being printed this week, and some will start to be shipped out. So thank you for purchasing. Thank you for letting that, share the book, share the page. Thanks for sharing my show. I appreciate that. That helps me as I move forward. And we'll talk later. See you tomorrow with more craziness right here. I'm Roo. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles.